Hello, and welcome to Wentworth Unlocked, focusing this week on Series 1, Episode 4. We took a break last week, mainly for the reason that in Australia it was Mother's Day, and a show that is has mainly um, female cast members. It seemed a bit unfair to ask people to leave their families to come and chat to me, really. So, who is our guest this week? Well, it's one of the wardens who keep control in a stern manner with the inmates of Wentworth. Linda smiles herself. Jackie Brennan.
Hello.
Hello. There's me trying to say predominantly. I can say it now.
Predominantly. That's all right.
That was the word I was trying to get
ready to help you. Don't you worry.
Thank you. Turning to Porky Pig for a second there.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I've just had a lovely weekend away in Phillip Island, which is a beautiful island in Melbourne, just off the Melbourne coast. Saw penguins and wallabies and hung out with my girlfriend. So it was wonderful.
It's the home of the fairy penguins, aren't they?
It is. They don't call them fairy penguins anymore. I don't know why. They're called blue penguins now.
I wonder why that was changed.
I don't know. I'd like a fairy penguin, but it was amazing. I was so up close and personal with the penguins, so it was wonderful.
I made an introduction that last week in Australia for Mother's Day. Did you have a nice day?
I had a lovely day. Yes, we went out for a beautiful dinner, and it was really good.
Okay. Now, I spoke to you last year. We had a chat online, and 20 minutes after we finished speaking, Melbourne experienced an earthquake.
It did. It was so bizarre. I said to my husband, "Is the ground moving?" And he went, "We're having an earthquake." I was like, "Oh my God." Yes, it was quite exciting, actually. I love a bit of an event.
Yeah.
So must have been something to do with you guys. I don't know.
Yeah, did it cause any damage?
No. I think a chair fell over somewhere
Oh.
in Melbourne. It's like, oops, a chair fell over. Okay.
Although I've got to say, I was a bit disappointed that it didn't happen 20 minutes earlier when we were live online chatting. How exciting would that have been? That would have been the best day
ever. Next time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, don't jinx it.
Today, in your time.
So, Series 1 of Wentworth, it was recorded 10 years ago. But what are your memories of those early days of filming the show?
First series was quite odd for me because I was hired for 8 days, as you know. So I literally would sit back and just watch. It was quite incredible to be in a room with such amazing actors and directors, not in a room, on a set. We didn't know what we were filming. We didn't know if it would go well or if it would bomb. It was literally, everyone was very green. There was no social media interest. I remember Seals talking about going to the Logies, which is our television awards, and nobody even photographing them. They kind of got out of the limo and nobody acknowledged them at all because nobody knew who they were. It was definitely a sort of gradual process with Wentworth where people got to know who people were, what the show was.
Well, you've certainly been noticed since, and the Logies have had numerous nominations and wins, and right up to today.
So today we had we're nominated for Most Outstanding, which is a industry voted award, which is really cool. And Katrina, yay! Finally, Katrina has been nominated for Best Supporting Actor or Actress, yes, in an Outstanding, which is also a industry voted award, which is great. Bernie has been nominated for Most Popular Actor, which it will be a
Right.
fan-based nomination. So, yeah, it's really, for a show that's been around for quite a while now, and we had that, 2-year hiatus where there were no awards. I think it's great. It's very exciting.
Indeed. We were talking about those first early days of being on Wentworth. When you arrived on set, were you familiar with any of the other cast members or crew? Had you worked with anyone before?
I'm trying to think. Who did I know? I knew Kate Atkinson. I had played in a show called Temptation, which became a series called The Cooks. I had played Kate's mother.
Oh,
I am not that much older than Kate.
no.
Yeah, so it was kind of a bit of it was quite funny for us. Kate's always looked very young for her age. I don't think I look old.
No, not at all. That's a bit of a surprise.
But yes, so it's so I knew Kate very well. Yeah, I knew a few people. It was all very tentative steps in the early days, especially the first couple of episodes. By episode 4, I think I'd found my mojo. And this is, I guess, when I started working out who Linda was, and the party girl, and I think she was running social committees, and so I started sort of everything they'd give me. I started writing down little things to build her character.
That's quite interesting, actually, because obviously one of the focuses in this episode is that several characters get up on the podium and deliver speeches and presentations about themselves, and you discover
Yes.
a little bit more about the backstory of not only Lizzie, obviously, but Frankie and Boomer. But you've got your own backstory that you were preparing as well, as they had to write their stories to present.
Sorry, I missed that, John. Say that again.
Sorry, just saying you were creating your own backstory to inform how you were playing Linda.
Yes, but not knowing that I would be there for 9 seasons, I was just thinking I was not a lead cast member, so I was, making sure that every decision I made was always informed from something. So
Right.
yeah, I just started building her like a little Lego block bit by bit, I guess.
There's one particular scene in the governor's office where Erica is introducing new measures for the staff, and it's not going down well. And you
Oh
start to
yes.
see that sort of the trademark eyebrow arching from Linda. She's clearly not happy in this scene.
Yeah.
And I think that clearly you started to make your mark on the show.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I like a bit of attitude. If
Yeah, that certainly comes across in that scene. It's a very formal, serious scene. I imagine in those type of situations, that's when you're in the worst danger of getting the giggle.
Do you know what? Wentworth was not a show to have the giggles on. Just in the sense of we were making quite gritty television. We were always time poor. People would get pretty cranky at us if we laughed. So yeah, you really had to have your game on. You couldn't. We make in Australian television. We make great television on the smell of an oily rag. I don't know if you know that term. We make great television on a very low budget. So you don't want to waste time. People get pretty grumpy at you if you waste time. You sort of laugh later.
Yeah. It's interesting you saying that you were limited for time and limited on budget, but that certainly doesn't come across on screen.
I'm
It's
so
very
happy to hear you
skewed.
say that. I agree. I even
Um,
think about, some of the stunts that we did over the whole course of the show that were incredible, that were literally done with people grabbing, cameras and shaking them to make it look like, uh, I'm thinking about the Tammy, so I'm going ahead. But
that's fine.
when Tammy and sorry, when Kaz and Will ended up in the water. Do you remember that
Yeah, I do.
in the prison van, and that whole sort of shaking of the van? The way they did that was actually quite incredible.
Um, Back in the 80s, he worked on a drama in BBC, quite famous. The unions were very strong, and there was a cut-off point, 10 o'clock, where it didn't matter if you'd finished the scene or not. The lights went out, the power went off. Um, I'm assuming it wasn't quite that high pressure
No.
at the time.
But I suppose I've done a lot of comedy where you do get a bit silly and you laugh, especially after lunch for some reason. About 3 o'clock, you all get a bit silly. But there were silly moments on set with Wentworth, but I think we just had to keep going, going. So,
Actually, just coming back to that scene in the governor's office, how was it working with Leanne, Erica Davidson?
oh, she's a beautiful human. She's a really lovely person. Um, yeah, she always brought something to set. She always had something going on. And she's a really nice person. So, it's always good to work with lovely people
And
and a very talented actor.
have you seen her since she departed the show?
I saw it at the Logies, which is our television award show. Um, Probably the last one, I think maybe so 2-3 years ago. Yeah.
Now, another scene that featured Linda quite heavily, and we've already touched on it, was the presentation in front of the
Mm.
board of governors. And
Yeah.
that must have been a long day of standing in the background looking stern and
Uh-huh.
official.
Do you know what? That was actually, from an actor's point of view, that was a really amazing day because I got to see those fabulous actresses or actors doing their amazing performances. So watching Celia doing that fraught performance, watching Katrina, it was a really good day to sit back and just watch
Yeah.
and still be stern.
That slurred speech that Celia does, Lizzie, when she comes on drunk and just
Mm.
rants about the incident with the smuggling of drugs internally with the child. That's a very bold subject
Yeah,
to tackle, especially only 4 episodes in.
yeah. And my
Um,
God, didn't she do it well?
yeah, absolutely.
And that, I reckon, that's when the seed was planted, where you just all got to love her. You knew where she came from, and you just loved her horrible journey. Or not horrible, you know what I mean? Her conflicted journey along the way.
Um, Now we have a question from Kirsty here that says,
I'm reading it.
was there a particular scene where you realised that this was going to be an amazing show?
Good question. Interestingly, that day was quite amazing, where the prisoners were, talking about their journeys. That was actually quite an impactful day.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff with Danielle. Sometimes the great thing about the first series is I just watched a lot. I would even if I wasn't in a scene, I would just go to set and just hang out and watch. Um, some of what Danielle brought to the show in those early days was, well, obviously all along the way, but in the early days was incredible.
How
I,
long?
I think I would describe, for me, the first series as feeling quite privileged just to be in the room.
Right. How long did it take from Wentworth airing, that first day of airing, before people started to recognise you in the streets?
Quite a while. Yeah, quite a while, actually. Probably 4 seasons in,
Really?
and then
Wow.
suddenly I go, "Oh, shit, I have to wear makeup to go to." I always wear makeup. But yeah, I think, "Oh gosh, I have to be aware that people will recognize me." But yeah, I would say 4 seasons in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Um, and what tends to be people's reaction when they see you? Do you get any flack for playing such a stern character?
Not at all. Wentworth fans are actually the best fans. They're so respectful. I've not had a disrespectful person ever.
Oh, wow. That's
Um,
good.
they are so passionate about the show. Um, sometimes I struggle with certain shops going in if they're major fans because I actually want to buy something and I don't actually get to buy anything. Um, but yeah, so I had 4 seasons without very much at all. And I remember I don't remember the first time. I remember being in Coles, which is our, one of the big chains here, with my daughter, and she said, "Mom, a lady just asked me if you're the lady from Wentworth," but she was too embarrassed to say, "Are you the lady from Wentworth?" I
Oh,
was like, "Okay." We also had someone following us the whole time through Coles, but on the whole, people are just lovely and just want to talk about it. It's
yeah.
a great
That,
show. Why wouldn't you wanna
that's
talk
great to
about
hear because, you quite often hear actors talk about playing a character um, that isn't particularly liked. Not saying that Linda's not liked. She was a very stern character, and they can get
what do
quite
you mean,
negative
John?
comments from people. Did you know me? Famously from Australia, Vivian Grey left her role in Neighbours because she she had enough of the flack that she was getting from the
Oh,
public.
no, I never get flack because Linda's funny.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What's
So
your
Linda's dry. She doesn't take any, can I swear on this forum?
yeah,
She doesn't take any shit. So she doesn't take any shit, but she's dry and funny. That humor, everyone's like, "Oh, no, I like you." I
yeah,
get, especially in the UK, I get lots of DMs on Instagram from people saying, "Oh, I love you, you're so funny," and yeah.
and of course we're going to be seeing you in person in the UK very soon. It's getting closer and closer.
Yay! I can't wait. I'm so excited.
And
Yes.
so we have you got any other plans while you're over here? Are you going to try and do a bit of the
I
tourist
think,
route?
beg your pardon.
I just asked you, are you going to do any of the tourist attractions while you're here?
I'm trying to keep it reasonably short because I know it's day here, but my son's a lead in his final school musical, so I want to make sure I see that. Um, but I have a fabulous friend in London that I'm going to catch up with. Unfortunately, my husband can't come because we just want to make sure one of us is here for our son's year 12. What do I want to do? I want to go to fabulous pubs. I want to go. Oh, I just can't wait to be back in London. Last time I was in London, I was 17, backpacking,
Oh,
and
wow.
I had a Eurail pass, and the only place I went was Paris because I couldn't wait to get back to London. I loved it so much. My family, my father was from Liverpool, so yeah, I think I've still got family in Liverpool and Norwich. But yeah, I've just got to work it all out. Obviously, kids and life, the universe, and everything. So we'll see. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, obviously, you're going to be spending one night in my hometown, Birmingham, where I am now.
Yes,
Well, I'll
yes,
have to think about what the best pubs are to
yes.
take you
Or
to.
dinner
I've
or
got one that's
pub.
got to be to mind. Nice
Beg your pardon?
traditional. Do you like some traditional Victorian pubs?
I love. Yes, absolutely.
There we go. I know where we can go. Sorted.
Yay! I remember when I went to Liverpool and my cousin Richard took me to the Abbey in Liverpool, and literally I was a drama student, so my best friend and I were both drama students between first year and second year, and I did not understand a word anybody said. I knew they were funny, but it's like I was like, no idea. But you're funny.
Yeah. My partner's American, and it must have been nearly 20 years ago that we went to for the weekend. He had the exact same thing. He was just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I just know what they're saying.
Yeah. But they're funny and they buy me
Yeah,
beer.
yeah. Just going back to Wentworth and to the scene with the presentation. At the end of Lizzie's rant, there's a great moment where you and the other officer are trying to wrangle her off the podium,
Yeah.
which in itself is quite a physical thing to do.
Yeah.
But it would be particularly difficult as you're trying to bring her off the podium on cue, because the natural thing to do in real life, you just grab her and pull her off. You can't do that
Yeah.
because you've got to finish her lines.
Yes. Yeah. That's actually when Celia and I are actually really good mates. We talk, she's in Sydney, I'm in Melbourne. We talk probably a couple of times a week. And I think that was when I just thought she was so amazing. Yeah, that's when I really got to have quite a bit of respect for her. And as an actor, you just have to work around when her line finishes and get her off. And this is when they started drip feeding me a little bit more stuff to do. So anything I could do, even just getting one of the lead characters off a podium, I was like, yes, this is how would Linda do this?
Yeah. Then there's another scene slightly later where you're dragging the character Ross, one of the inmates, through
Beg your
the
pardon?
exercise. There's character Ross, who was involved in the drug smuggling with her daughter, and yourself and another officer are dragging her through the exercise yard where she's being abused by the other inmates.
Oh,
I'm just wondering if those yard scenes ever actually became quite intimidating for you.
very much so. It was NAR, no acting required. Yeah. And the extras or background and extras on Wentworth were amazing. So yeah, you just didn't even have to. You were just in the moment. You really felt like you were in that scene. You were taking that person from go to woe. There was a lot of thread out there, so you were always very aware of danger. I haven't thought about this series for quite a long time, actually. It's really interesting to go back and revisit it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm certainly finding that doing these shows, going back and revisiting the early episodes.
Yeah,
And there's a thing that you're not personally involved in this episode, but at the time just made me howl. Is
yeah.
when Jax is being spit searched and
Chris
she
McQuaid. I
yeah,
love Chris
she
McQuaid.
farts in Vera's
Yes.
face.
Yes, I remember that very well.
It's just that look on Kate's face, which is just get best. Lovely.
Something about series. I love Chris McQuaid. Um, I just think she's an amazing actor, and I just love how grounded she is in that beautiful voice.
Yeah.
And we just sit out in the exercise yard sometimes. I just wanted to sit next to her just to kind of be around her. She was amazing.
And she certainly had that strength and just quiet power that was
Mm.
required for the initial top dog of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Good casting. She was
Yeah,
amazing. She
absolutely.
died at the oh, can I say it?
Funny enough, talking about that scene with her breaking wind in the officer's face, about a month ago, I saw in the free paper they give away on public transport that someone had actually been prosecuted for doing exactly that in the same position.
Oh, sometimes yes, you'll read what happens in prisons and go, "Wow, we knew. We had foresight of what would happen in prisons in the future." Yeah.
Did you talk to any prison officers in advance in preparation?
When, so series 1, they had for the prisoners, they had some ex-prisoners come and talk to them. And for the prison guards, they did have someone come out. Um, but there was a guy who was an extra who had been a prison guard
Mhm.
in female and male prisons. And he I hope he's not watching this. His disrespect for the prisoners really sort of struck a chord with me. I thought, you don't I think the other guys, they had been written to be friends with the prisoners, and I thought, they're not all gonna like these prisoners. And
Mm.
so I made a decision that she felt her status was way above them, and that they just wasted her time, and she just kind of wanted to get to the pokey. Well, at that stage, I didn't know it was pokies, but wanted to get out of there. So I'm actually quite proud of that decision. Like, it was quite, as an actor, you always want to be liked in your, well, not always, but you would choose to have a character that people are going to like. So yeah, I made the decision that she didn't really like them very much.
I imagine that the uniform must have been a big part of the character. You can't put on that sort of outfit and the equipment without suddenly feeling the role.
Yes, absolutely. And those freaking shoes. Can we talk about those shoes?
Yeah.
Yes. So as soon as I put on that uniform and be with all my teal friends, my status was so much higher, even though she was damaged. Um, yeah, I loved that uniform, and it pretty much never changed over 8 years, and I still could never do the tie. They had to do the tie, and I would. It's not my
Did you get to
skill
keep
set.
the uniform?
Beg your pardon?
Did you get to keep the uniform at the end of the show?
No.
Oh,
Yes, that's totally fine. I was ready to, by that stage, I was ready to bless it with love and release it.
often, I wonder what happened to it. A lot of things went to auction, didn't they? And to
And
charity.
there are some at Acme, which is Australian motion cinema, something or other. Anyway, it's a something in the city where people can go and look at shows. Help me, John. I can't think of the word. I've had a girls' weekend where.
A exhibition, maybe.
Correct.
Oh,
10 points.
there we go. Well, you helped me out.
Yeah.
You helped me out at the beginning, or tried to. I'd help you out at the
Yeah.
end.
Yes. Yeah, so there are people go in and see all the uniforms and all our little badges and bits and bobs. So
Did you ever find on set that the performers playing inmates and the performers playing staff and officers tended to gravitate towards each other? I'm only asking because famously on the Planet of the Apes movies, they said that whenever people said cut, all the chimpanzees would go together, all the orangutans would go together, all the gorillas would stay together. They just
that's hilarious.
automatically found their tribes.
I didn't find that because I'm a social creature. So I would want to go with the orangutan and the chimpanzees. um, um, Definitely Kate and Pam, but that's series 2. They had their own little tribe, and I'd go in and try and kind of annoy them a bit. Yes, probably they did, but I wasn't. I was a floater. I was in with the prisoners. I was in with the
You were joining the chimpanzees up there.
yeah. Yes.
With my hair, I'd have to be in it with the orangutans.
It
Definitely.
is very good hair.
It's very ginger. Well, and grey.
All my family are gingers.
Oh,
But yeah, all my cousins and anyway, that's another thing that
then-
I'll tell you that over a drink in England.
oh, okay.
In Birmingham.
Okay. Well, I feel sorry for gingers living in Australia, obviously, because we burn so easily.
Yes. But so do we blondies. We
Oh,
blondie
yeah.
Irish girls. Yeah.
So we've come to the end of our chat, our time today. It's been a pleasure talking to you again.
It's been a
And
pleasure
can't wait
talking to you.
to introduce you to the pubs of Birmingham when you're over in the
Excellent.
UK.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, and let's hope there isn't any more seismic disruptions when we finish
Okay.
this
No,
chat.
it's
Oh no! Ah! Oh no, it's like Star Trek acting. Ah!
yeah. Or the old prisoner sets where they wobbled.
Indeed. I was thinking that earlier when we were talking about time and budget constraints. And as much as I adore the original Prisoner and what a classic it is, the difference between Prisoner and Wentworth is you can see that they're putting together 2 hours on a shoestring. And there are occasions where you can see the director just gone, that's fine, look, it'll do.
Yeah.
We can't do it again.
Yeah.
Certainly very different from Wentworth, I assume.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they're never at any one point did the director say, oh, it'll do.
Never. No. No.
And that's what comes
why we ran for 9 seasons, I guess.
9 seasons and have been such a success at the Logies, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be again with that great news for Bernie and Katrina.
Thank you, John. Always a pleasure to chat to you.
You too. Lovely seeing you. Take care.